G'day and welcome to part 7, I believe, of the Starlie rebuild. This one's, we bring the blue one in, we pull it all apart, yank the engine, stick a different engine in, we keep the one that was in that red one that was praying that I bought new, and all the front suspension and the drive shafts and all this sort of other stuff. So I'm halfway through it now. I've got the engine all in, it's ready to start, except it started raining. And I've got to also pull the rear brakes and shocks off and stick them in the green one because they're very good. The shocks were out of the red 5-door. So when I did the red 5-door, I intended to, the coronavirus thing had just started and I intended to get to it later in the year. But I thought, you know what, blow it, I'll do it now. The rego was due, I've let it lapse, and so we've now changed everything over. Or most of it over. So the green one, a few bits and pieces go in. That's going to be a champion car. The plating and stuff, and I'd like to get the rocker cover and the front engine mount hydroplasted and the bolts and everything plated, but we're in lockdown, and you know, we all break the law going 3 or 4 kilometres an hour over the speed limit, but the isolation thing, and that's a law I'm not breaking. So we'll just put it together the way it is. It's going to be fine. We'll just clean it a bit, and it should all be good. Aside from that, I don't know that there's too much I can say, except for I hope you enjoy. Alright, time to move some cars. Got too many in here, because, whoops, the little Starlie, my lovely little Starlie, is now out of rego, and I've stopped driving it. Got to cancel insurance, I forgot about that, because now I'm going to take to him with a spanner. So, first on the agenda, we're going to remove this pretend MG. Okay, so we've got the little Starlie cleared up. Very peely. In areas like this. I did put a retarder in, but obviously didn't use enough, which is why it didn't flatten down. But it's okay. It's good. That'll wet sand beautifully. And it probably only... Normally I would do 1200 then 2, and then buff it, but you'll probably get away with just using 2000 grit. But it looks pretty good. There's a couple of little dents I've still seen. I've seen in it, but all the interior, that grey around the seams there, that's just dust. I blew it out but missed a bit, but yeah, you can see it's ready to go back together. The tailgate I'm not happy with though, and I'll show you why. The tailgate was flawless, but when I started peeling stickers off and badges off, all the clear started coming off. But not just that, it's got a really, I think it's spray putty, I'm not sure what that is. It's really, really soft. And I thought, oh, somebody's painted it not that long ago, and it's like it was a 2-pack one, they haven't added enough hardener. It just hasn't, it's just nowhere near as hard as I'd like it to be. I've got the one from the old red car that we rode off years ago. Oh, I think that was at the end of 2014, so it's been under here for 6 years. 5 years. That red one. That was flawless. I mean, it's probably got a few chips and stuff in it now, but I'll pull that out, pull it apart, and I think we'll use that one instead. Oh, I'm puffed. Digging that out. This is the one I bought from Nuttawadding Toyota back in 1998. And it looks shabby, but it's never been painted, and that is the one we're going to use. And there's still nothing wrong with that. I just can't be bothered doing all the bodywork. So I'll reassemble that one and chug it under the house. Right, bluey time is over. So now it's time to take all the life out of this, put that engine and so forth and suspension into this and give it more life, and then get rid of it. Then we've got to give that life. So we might as well start. A couple of small measurements. Toyota badge is 68 from the bottom edge, from the edge, 180 that end from the edge, 48 from the bottom edge to the lip, and 50 on that side. Of course, the Starlet one is 47 from the bottom, 41 from the bottom, 179 from that edge, and 27 from that edge there. The L and the E are level with the bottom of the boot lock. The I is slightly below that. 142 from the bottom edge to the edge here, 67 to that edge, 169 from this edge to the bottom, and 142 from that edge to the bottom. So you can just stick some tape on it once it's painted with those measurements in mind, leaving a little cutout, and the badge will be, well, the stickers will work fine. I've just been washing this down and running a toothbrush around to get rid of any mud and muck that's in there. The way we masked off the other one, we've had some success with that. Doing it this way and then cleaning it out and masking it. So I washed the other side as well, and I should have painted this already, but I got sort of caught up with the bluebird and, you know, new toy, that sort of thing. So I'm sorry the blue car's going, but at the end of the day, the stuff in the blue car that I particularly like, the engine and all those bits and pieces, are out of this red one anyway. So it's all coming out again. So this will give it a chance. I'll just let this dry. I'll hose it off in a moment and see how that looks. It's all leftover car washing stuff from the Bluey. I did that this morning. And we'll wash the other side, and I might leave that Nunawading Toyota sticker on. It's had it, but that's the car's history, right? Alex was a friend of mine, the auto electrician. The blue one was covered in half destroyed Richmond Tigers stickers, and I promised him I'd leave one there because he's a mad Tiger supporter. Round two. So this was that thing there. I'm going to leave. I'll just paint over it. It's got the original rivets there, which are the same as what holds the exhaust heat shields on these cars. And you can get the lock out because I think it's a security thing. I don't know, but it doesn't touch anything. The lock goes through it, and then your actuator rod sort of swings off the bottom. But you can take that lever off the lock cylinder, and you know, you still get it on and off and all that sort of stuff. So I'm just going to go around and clean this up and get it ready to paint it. And paint all of it. I want everything painted. I know it's being a bit anal, but that's me, right? So we're ready to start on this. We've forgotten all about the Bluey, and for now, and we've got to get into this car. The time constraint is that the blue car's registration ran out a week ago, and I've got to get that stripped out and sent away as soon as I can. I would love to have drilled the spot welds out on this and put it in with nutsert so I can just lower the engine in and out, but there's a gearbox mount that sort of comes in underneath, so it wouldn't have been strong enough. That's the reason it's so overkill with the welding, because it is actually structural, which is a bummer because that would have just made things so easy. Right. So this poor little guy is about to die. We're going to reduce it from a nice little car that does everything right to something that doesn't run, and put it together with substandard bits and send it off where it will be destroyed. So I think the first thing to do is I want this green thing to be able to be wheeled around, so I'm going to pop the suspension out of the front and put this crummy suspension in it that can go with the car. That's got leaky struts. I think the blue ones are alright. I hope they are. We'll have a look. I want to keep this stuff because so many of these parts are brand new. Somebody's even put new shocks on. Can you see where I am? Hang on, let me just move the cam. Oh, I don't think you can. Strut bearing's great. No leaks. They've been replaced, they're not original ones. So they'll go straight onto the red car. Even though it looks a bit dirty, I don't care. And, you know, hang on, I'll just take you off here for a moment. And, you know, you've got these new drive shafts which we put on, and so they'll go over as well. It's just silly leaving them in here. Power steering rack's coming out as well. I'll just pick, I've got 3 of them, so I'll just pick which is the best, and I'll do that with the engine out. I'm trying to get bits and pieces on, except I'm losing tools. Oh, there it is on the ground. None of this looks particularly good because, you know, dirty bits, and I'm not going to clean it up. You know what I mean? It's like, I just want to get the thing going, and I've got to get that blue car gone, which means there's plenty more work to do. So I haven't got time to do all this sort of stuff. It's lockdown, so I can't get to a planer. People, I imagine, will be quite critical considering what I normally do, but this is a daily hack, so it doesn't really matter that much. Starlie with wheels. Front end's all in. I've made, as I said before, no attempt at really cleaning everything up. I've just wiped it, basically. So, you know, your rack looks a little bit dirty, but I don't think any of that matters, really. Just because when you look at the completed car, you actually don't see anything down there. You've got to really peer down and take a look. And, you know, this car's going to be living outside. So, I've not taken anything out of here yet. The car will still run if I hit it with a key. But the drive shafts are out. The old suspension's in the front. I'll take those, I'll drain the gearbox and take those drive shafts out tomorrow. Got to take all the wiring out for the power door locks, and the power mirror one stays there. The dash has to come out. The radio and all. The genuine Toyota one has to come out. That's the steering cover out of the Bluey. So I can take a good wheel out and put a crummy one in with the airbag and stick that over it. The rest of the interior will stay pretty much because I've got just as equally good stuff. I wish I had some shabby stuff like ashtrays and cigarette lighters. This has all got really, really good stuff. I might take the headlining out though. It wasn't perfect. It was all sort of buggered up around here. And so when you look at this one, or the green one, I've actually improved it quite a lot. Because this one's all hammered just like the green one was. And this is all fresh in the green one. So, you know, and I've got good ones of these where they're pretty knackered. So none of that really worries me. I couldn't care less. I'm going to quit for now. Got to clean out, go to the hospital, see how she's going, and have a movie night with the kids, another one, because that is what I really enjoy doing. Well, there's our drive shafts, still nice and sort of shiny and new. Nothing wrong with them. The short one was an absolute pig. That's the passenger side one. The way to really get it out, it's on a hoist. On the ground, it's just awful. You can barely reach it. It's underneath that curved bit of casting there. So you got to put something behind it. It just slides down that casting. I ended up putting some bolts with washers. I don't know if you can see them down there, to hold a straight screwdriver, a square shank screwdriver, and just leave it off that. Right. We've got to take the power steering. I've just drained that with a syringe. Same with the brakes. Started doing the clutch master, but the fluid was just like mud, so that can stay here. So in terms of fitting all this stuff onto the other one, I've got another kit, and I'm not going to fit it yet until the engine's in because I can access the mount a bit easier. So we'll pull the air conditioner off tomorrow, strap it to the side, take the pump off just so that we've got some wiggle room, and I'm going to try and drop it at the back like that just to clear that battery, the platform for the battery. Still got to paint these. And started putting this stuff on, which I've mentioned. I can't put power steering reservoirs and all that sort of stuff on because it'll get in the way. I want this as empty as possible when the engine goes in. We can start putting the interior together, and I've got, I don't know what I did with it. I had a bottle of dioxidine. I'm just going to dilute it. I'll take the pedals off and just get rid of that rust, surface rust there. And on the crash bar, right on the top, on the bottom. Top, yep. And once we've done that, I'll pull the engine out of this, and I'll stick the other one in, and I'll do that as quickly as I can because that way I can basically get rid of the car, and it frees up a lot of room. Other cars can come back here, and I can also just take my time with the green one. I'll just take bits and pieces of this off. It's 1:15, or nearly 1:15. Mum has her procedure at 1:30, so they would have sedated her by now. It's a 3-hour operation on her head to put a shunt in, and I don't know how she'd respond to that much anaesthetic, but I'm fucking stressed. I just need to do it. I'm on a lunch break at the moment from school. I'll go inside before 2 o'clock and, you know, do the next lesson. It's just a horrible time, you know. I saw her last night. I've been going in every night to see her in the hospital, and she was worried. I was worried, but we didn't show it. And I said to her, when you come out, I'll take you for a coffee every day. And she lit up like a kid in a candy shop. And you know, on the holidays I do take her out every day. When I'm at work, probably 3 times a week on the weekends. I do what I can. But this isn't something I'm at all comfortable with. So we're just pulling the power steering reservoir off so I can get to the mount. I've got the air conditioning compressor hanging off the radiator support, and I'll take the pump up as well to give me a bit of swaying room. because I don't want to take this off the bloody. It's going to actually be too tight, I think. I don't want to separate the gearbox if I can avoid it, but I might have to. We'll just see. Well, they're almost about to start. So hopefully they fix her and I can fix the car for her. Right, so all the wiring is disconnected. I'm going to undo the fuel line, the heater lines, and just strap everything up to the side of the heater lines I'll leave on the engine. I'm just charging the compressor at the moment, and then I should be ready to pull it out. Hopefully, I've also got to take the power steering pump off, and I'll undo that as well, and leave the high pressure line in the car. Mum loved this car. She actually got out of rehab one year, and well, soon after I did it, kissed it. She was so pleased to see it because it represented her freedom. So, you know, that's what I think it's 20 to 2 or something like that. So she's out and she's on the operating table, and so is her car. So, you know, as long as I can think, because this was she helped me buy that red car that was written off when I was at university. That was all Mum. So a lot of the parts that came out of this, you know, will go into that car to make it sort of hers. But she helped Susie with her car. She helped, you know, the hot water, was it hot water service? No, the heater, the central heater burst. She bought a new one. She bought us a fridge. You know, she's just been so helpful, and I want to be helpful to her. So I think we all feel indebted to our parents, don't we? Anyway, I'm going to, why did I just do that? Oh, that's what I've got to take that off. Throttle cable. Oh, the fuel line, that's right. I'm not supposed to use rattle guns, but I'm going to. There's one for the fuel line and one for the power steering. Just because if you use it with a spanner, particularly this power steering one, you can't get you can't get a spanner in that post. So that's all I'm doing. And fluid is going to go everywhere, little fluids. So we'll just pop you out of here. That's going to overflow a bit. Bugger it. I should have used. Where's my syringe? And the O-ring is like a copper washer like that. So we'll just pop him back in. And when we take the pump off, we'll drain all that. And the next one's the fuel. And we'll just give him a little bit of a zap as well. Like that, and we should be good. And there won't be much fuel pressure. That's off. And the return line actually leaks more than this one. So there's one washer, there's the other. That stays in the vehicle. And that's good. Rightio. So, what we've got, everything's ready to come out. I've taken the back gearbox mount off. You can see it moving around there on a jack. This is in far better condition. It's not new, but it is serviceable. So we'll keep that for the better car, or for the green car, and use the old one in here. I took that off first because I don't want to line into the car when I've got the heater hoses off and the fuel. The fuel return and the heater hoses are the only bits of electrical or plumbing that's still attached to it. So I'll take those off and I'll strap them out the way, and then we'll get the engine crane out and start doing what we have to do. I don't know how this is going to go. Yep, the jack under there, like we said. I've just taken the heat shield off to have a bit of a look. If we get that off, it'd be great, but yeah, really straightforward, but that's going to be in the way. I've cable tied all the looms and the fuel lines and heater hoses to the engine, everything, so it's all sort of independent, disconnected. Map sensors out, brake boosters out, fuel lines are all off, exhaust off. So it's just really, the only thing holding it on is that mount there, and that one underneath there. So what we'll do, we'll pop the bonnet off and get the engine crane and have a fiddle around. But this was an engine that I was not going to give up. It's not as fast as the red car was, but it doesn't matter, I kind of like it. I bought it new. It just moved right over. No 14, 14mm bolts, oh, there's 3. So I'm just going to get under here and unbutton these ones. next one I'll take the whole other mount out. And I think this one was the one on the original car that Dave didn't like the look of. And to be quite candid, I don't know that I like the look of this one either. It's starting to split in there. Oops. So see that crack? Yeah, the vulcanizing's failed. I don't think... Oh no, that's just that bit. I'll see if I can get one. We'll see how this goes. They're a really badly balanced engine when they're sitting there. And I'm petrified of scratching everything up when I put it in the new car. I might just pull that back a bit. Yeah, but it's alright, you can come. I might take that mount off, that might give me a little bit more room, that front mount. We'll try that. I've taken that mount out. So it's just a matter, I just want to see if I can... Yeah, it's not going to happen. I'm going to scratch the heck out of it. So unless I can lift it, it probably doesn't matter with this car, obviously. But I might try and lift it. So this is too late now because I'm already committed, but I might try and put a nut in a bolt and lift it from here so it's right on an angle so I can just drop it straight in to the other car, the green one. I'll move across a bit. I'm just going to have to wangle this. Nope, that's not going to work because I'm hard against that battery tray. Which is also a structural member, which is a right pain in the ass. So I'm just going to... I just want to take the gearbox off. I can't be bothered, do you know what I mean? So I'm just going to have to muck around with this. That's got to come over. Look, the air conditioning compressor's in the way. If I come over this way, I can drop it a bit more, but not much. And then the master cylinder's in the way here. Your plenum chamber is right up against the firewall. They're just designed to go in from underneath. There's no two ways about it. But I'm just going to mess around with it a bit, see if I can come up with something. Need to swing it around. Okay, I'm going to have to think of something a bit more practical than this. It's coming out, but it's going to scratch the arse out of everything. And the air conditioning bracket's really close to the condenser. It's almost on it. Not that the other car has a condenser yet, but that might be better. So, stupid way of doing it, but it's basically being lazy, taking it out like this. But it looks like it's free now. Yep, she's all free. Alright. There'll be some cable loom, wiring loom brackets that need to be changed over because the looms are different in the two cars. But aside from that, it should be pretty much straight swap. Lower that a tiny bit more. Level him out a bit. Oh, that'll be right there. Whoa, that's slipped on the chain. Right, so this gives us a good map of what we're up against in the other car, putting it together. This was awfully close. And the bracket was awfully close on the condenser. Now the condenser's not in the other car yet, nor is the aircon compressor, which makes it easier. So it means tying up the other loom, pretty much the same as that. And taking it from there. So I'll use this as a map for the brackets and the just odds and ends that are in the car to hold the loom and the hydraulic lines. We'll put that together on the other car and then drop it straight in. In the meantime, there's a few things. Thermostat housing looks a bit corroded, where the other one's got like a brand new one on it. But Otherwise, it's pretty much the same. I'll just make sure the alternator plugs and everything are the same. But it's all good. So the engine's out. 3/4, great. Or 19, I should say. Just taking some of the stuff out of the interior. I've got to check this loom. The power mirrors have a plug there. So we keep that. That plug is in the other loom, the new one. I'll just check those wires to make sure everything's cool. And generally have a little coin box instead, which I think is fitted to your standard ones, if I can get it in. Like that. And of course we keep this sort of stuff. So, the steering wheel is like a new one. This is the one I got for the record not long ago. And it's great. And the steering lock will come on and that. There we go. And it shouldn't be too difficult to get off. Just make sure when you do it. Oops. We just pull it like that. And I'll drop the column because it's just easier getting everything out. As well as the cluster. I'm going to take the cluster and I'll put a cheap one in. The rest of the column and everything can stay there because I've got a few, whoops, that was a bit hurried, a few 98 columns, but that'll stay there. And this wheel I got from the Wreckers for $30, you know, you just wouldn't go anywhere else, would you? So I'm a big believer in the Wreckers. That union on the thing sometimes can take a bit of getting off. I wouldn't normally use a rattle gun on the inside of a car, but let's face it, this one doesn't matter too much. It's all super light duty stuff, isn't it? Susie knocked on the window, it is ready. So I'm just going to pop that rack out. Oh, I've got to go this way. Oops. Drop it in the oil, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? You wouldn't probably worry about this, but it's power steering and it's hard to get on Starlie, so... Whoops, it's dripping too, so I'm keeping it. Tomorrow what I'll do is I'll wipe that up and move it away. Is put the manual steering in. Got to take that box out and put a manual one in. And we just plonk an engine in and... yeah. That's about it for this car. I'm not taking anything else out of it. I'll just check the headlights against the ones I've got to make sure I've got the two best ones. And I'll take the stereo. There's a few interior things. I was thinking about the headlining. And the instrumentation. That instrumentation goes to the motor. So, and the master, I'll have a look and see which one is the best master. But yeah, it's... once that's done and this is done, you know, it's just putting the engine back in. I'm just sort of flicking between each car and putting bits and pieces on, mainly bracketry. You know, these sorts of things. We can figure it out, but while I've got the engine out of the other car, I can just sort of put my brain in neutral and, you know, not think about it too much and just go ahead and do it. Using the master off this blue car, or this car, where is it there? The clutch master. That's a beautiful clean one. Hopefully it lasts. We've got a rack in, clutch line. We'll just do the brake lines and secure them. We've got to put the loom in. I'm just cleaning that up at the moment, the wiring loom. But it's all looking pretty good. The gear shift cables will have to go in. So yeah, it's all looking good. Quick manual steering conversion. Longer box here for the shorter rack. It's a very tiny rack. Couldn't find the shaft between the steering column and the rack, and I put a thing on Facebook. And Matt Berry responded. I haven't thanked him yet. Thanks very much, Matt. I'm going to see if this fits. I was walking past an AE 110 or 111, I don't know what it was, Corolla, the one before the 112. And the Corollas are all power steered, and it's got the big one and the little one. They've gone back to a smaller spline on the column on the Corolla. So I'm hoping this fits. It's adjustable, it's on a slip joint, or the shaft's adjustable. So I'll bang them in and see if it goes. So, putting brake and clutch lines in, I have a limited supply of 6mm plated bolts. I got them done with the Plymouth stuff, so it's a sort of a powdery plating, but it's better than the original stuff. Everybody who watches anything that I do knows I'm nuts about plating. Really because of the way it looks, but not just that, it's actually cheaper to get things plated than it is in labour, sitting there and just trying to clean the stuff up. So we're just banging all this stuff in. Speedo cable comes out of there, drops down there, that holds it there. I can't go too crazy in here because I've got there was another one somewhere. They're tight, aren't they? Yep. Because I just want to put the engine in. There's another bracket over there somewhere. I don't know where it is. I've got to go and try and find it. Oh, hang on. There's one here too. One for the front brake line. Oh, I'll scratch that. That doesn't matter. It'll be hidden. And not a bad idea when you're doing this sort of thing. I always blow the lines out with compressed air just to get rid of any old brake fluid, but not just that, to make sure no dust or dirt or muck's got in there. And then they're nice and clean. Typical with Toyota quality, they're beautiful, these things. The finish stays good on them, they're clean inside and out, they're great. There's a big bracket here that goes over there, but I might put that in later. Yeah. Gearbox is sitting down there. The drive shaft's still in it. So I couldn't be fagged taking him out and draining the thing, but I might have to. I don't think this is going to work. If I can get away with it, stick it in, mate it up, you know, and get it in, good. But we've got a fine day today, a bit overcast in spots, but tomorrow is going to be 95% chance of rain, so I have to get it done today. So if it doesn't work, I'm going to be pulling it out and doing it out of the car and just dropping it in. Total pig. I'll never do it like that again. I thought I was going to save time, and I spent half an hour wriggling that thing on to get it on, but got it there in the end. So from now we can just lift it in, which is a good thing, right? It's a pity about this car because that engine's still good. Look at the compressions, 220, 225 and 230s, 230s I should say. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. There to level it. Cool. Just got to move it back. I got to balance on a chain and jack. I feel I need to do another one of these. You know, I finish the green one off. I might grab another one. Glutton for punishment. Even though it's no punishment, this is a pleasure. So maybe I should keep going, but I'm going to have a cup of tea. Back soon. I just learned something. Did you know that the top engine mount, or the front engine mount, on a 96, 97 is different from a 98, 99. They look the same, but the 98, 99 is wider here, so that flange is narrower on the earlier car. I didn't know that. I'm still going on this thing, but I'll tell you what, R&Ring at 351 is a lot easier than this. Probably because I'm not used to it, the front wheel drive stuff. Although I did work on a lot of it in trade, so I'm just sort of putting it all back in some sort of order and, you know, make it work again. Got the starter and the alternator. I'm just doing some of the fun stuff for now. I've also got to remember the two vacuum lines at the back for the power steering. There's a compensator when you hit full lock, and they're blanked off on a non-power steered car, but they've got two vacuum lines running down to the rack. On cars with PS, power steering. Is that on the inside or the outside? I can't remember. Is that the right? Come on, get on there. So far I've only found a couple of really minor differences between 96.7 and 8.9. You know, that front mount, I never even thought of that. So we're nearly ready. I've got to put the exhaust on and a few other bits and pieces. But have I got this the right way? I don't know, it feels kind of, oh yeah, no, that should be right. And then that goes to the master, that goes onto there I think, that goes to the map sensor, and didn't hear a click, but that goes in there. Master cylinder switch, there should be a bracket that holds this. and it's different on power steered cars. I don't know where it is, so that's going to be flapping around in the breeze or tied up there. It's just, you know, the cars are going to experience a bit of demise, so I'm not sure how far to go with it in terms of, you know, that goes to the charcoal canister. I'm going to connect the heater hoses now. That one will go there. And the gear shift linkages. Oh, hang on, there's a plug here. What the hell? What do you do? Ah, starter motor. I don't know what that is. Might put these ones in first. Finished under here. I just forgot to put the alternator wire on and the 2 vacuum plugs on the back of the manifold. The rest of it's all done. There's the idler pulley. I scabbed off pulled off a car at the wreckers, and I kept the belt too from it. I don't even think they charged me that much for that. I don't know what it was. So our power steering's completely gone. So it's a bit of a shame. This is a good little engine. So we'll get the worst radiator, put that in, fill it with coolant, it'll start. The exhaust is all hooked up. There's still a few other bits and pieces though. The instrumentation and the radio and a few other bits and pieces. I think I already spoke about that, didn't I? So that little guy, which was in our little red one, that's going in the garage for now. I'm almost ready to put it in the green car. Got me a few last minute bits over. That's off the engine, the good engine, well, my engine. It's good inside, but this is the one out of this one, which looks like it's been replaced, or at least it's been better maintained. Although I've done the service, every service on that. That's the best way to take them off. Just take the nuts out and just jimmy it off with a screw stick that fits in. But I'm having trouble getting that thermostat out. And this is the one out of this car, which ran out of this engine, which ran a little bit too cool. So I don't care if I stuff it because I just don't care. So that's the one we're going to keep. But yeah, when we bought the car new, it went in for its first 1000k service. And of course, after that, I did every single service. So I know the engine well. What does that say? Oh, it's got a little bleeder in it too. They're a good idea. In fact, when I put a thermostat and anything else, if it hasn't got a hole, I just do a little 2mm hole there, and that'll bleed the system so you're not going to wind up with airlocks and all this sort of other nonsense. I might just bang a little bit of Pyrametex around there and put him on. So the end is nigh. Still haven't done the interior stuff. There's probably no point, because this is going to the crushers. There's probably no point in cleaning it off, but we'll do it to be polite to the crusher. There you go, that's good enough. And I'll just put a bit of Permatex just around the rubber. This stuff is great. I use it for everything except gravy on my meal. I don't use it for that. I'll just run some around here. Because we're not changing the seal. But I want the car to go there, to go back and be appraised for the good car that it is. That is the thinking. So I'm going to put that back on. And do the same with the other engine, and we're good. Starlie radiators. That is the one that was out of the red car. This is the one that was out of the dark blue one, and that one looks cleaner inside. I might stick that on and just put this one into the wreck. I think it just looks a lot cleaner inside than what that does. And I think once I've got the radiator in, I'll just fill it with water. Won't put coolant in. And it's got plenty of oil in it. I'm starting to worry that this engine is better than the one I'm putting in. I mean, the oil's clean, the compressions are perfect. You know, the inside of it looks wonderful. Yeah, I mean, am I doing myself a favour or shooting myself in the foot? So, this has slightly discoloured top tank, so it's got warm. This was the one when I got this light blue car. The radio that was in it was almost yellow at the top, so we went for this one. It just looked a bit slightly better condition. But the other one just looks a little bit better. I mean, it's probably completely wrong what I'm saying, but whatever the case, I'm going with it. So, you know, Hopefully it's all good. So I think we're nearly done. I've just got to put the snorkel thing on and, you know, a few other bits and pieces. I'm ready to start it. Bummer about this battery. It's virtually brand new. But if we get a good buyback price, it doesn't matter much. We can buy another new one, hey? I've got the other one, which is the same sort of age. So they're both new. And even the one out of the dark blue car was a really good battery, and I had to let it go with the red car, the 5-door. But again, we got good money, so it didn't matter much. All looks good. We'll slip underneath and have a look. All that steering paraphernalia, that elongated box thing, is in. The drive shafts are in with split pins. Probably getting carried away, but Toyota are buying back a car that was in good running condition, and I will get a car in good running condition. It all looks pretty good. The drive shafts and suspension were the ones I didn't want. And of course the engine and gearbox is the one I didn't want too, even though that engine is nigh on perfect. So the thing was stuck. I wondered why. It's because the thing's rusted, but as soon as we get it out onto the street, you know, start moving it, that will all come good. Just topping up the cooler, just a bit of water. The negative on the battery, I've just got that loose, just in case something goes completely wrong. Really like that, I think, and get some fuel pressure up and see if she starts. It's getting overcast, so it's going to rain. No, she doesn't go. What have I done wrong? Just got to put a master on. I haven't done anything to the interior. I've just been putting bits and pieces on. There's a few brackets that I've got to look for before I forget what they are, because I'm likely to. So that's getting there. I'm actually really happy about that. Oh my god. How perfect is that? What a shame. Rough idle, isn't it? Oh, perfect. What a shame they reckon, isn't it? Isn't that awful? Absolutely perfect. Alright, well, I think now that's enough for this video because it's going to go for too long. I'm going to do something about the instrumentation. What else do we need to do? I'll put the covers on underneath. I left them lying over there on the ground. So that's all sort of zipped up and finished in here. It's all good. The thing that I'm going to miss most about this, it's got the most kick-ass air conditioner in it. Like, it's really, really, really good. I took the noisy compressor that was on this engine and stuck it in the other one. I can smell the burning paint dust on the manifold. But yeah, I took the noisy compressor off and stuck it in the red car, so that air conditioner wasn't functional, and I left the belt off. But this is just nothing wrong with that at all. So it's a bloody shame. I think everything's just so good. Anyway, I'll pop the wheel on. I'll put the old wheel there and the bluey cover. We'll put that on, but I'll do the dash first. But I think that can wait till the next video. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this. Take good care of yourself, and I shall see you soon. What do you reckon? She haven't. Jesus.